Until Valhalla leads at the 500 metres. We're getting a little bit closer now. Chronology the outside being ridden up. Northern Eyes peeling 3 wide. And Mogwai just behind them now scraping paint. Well into the straight Until Valhalla shows the way. Mogwai had to change course there to come off heels. And now it's throwing down the gauntlet to Until Valhalla. Until Valhalla a half in front to Mogwai. Rockola's running on well on the rails. Until Valhalla still in front. Mogwai's got the job to get there. And Until Valhalla's going to lead all the way. Was able to fend off Mogwai to win it by a length and a half.
Mailbag Preview Show, episode 284. Welcome back to Rob Scurry and Jack Dickens. Rob, big day on the Kenzo yesterday for us all, but big day on the tipping front from you as well.
Oh, cheers, mate. Well, good start back in our own horse and pinging out of the gates and, being a mile 200 out. So exciting. Full credit, Jack Dickens, and I mean that, man. Like, wow, this is the horse that you wanted to buy, not with big money, and you've got some of your best clients into it, and I'm guessing what price 1,000 guineas, mate?
Well, there was 100 to 1 there. Thank you, Rob. My mail is too that Rob might have crowed the horse at the 200 and screamed up almost the whole way, which just adds to my joy. But yeah, like very, very, very cool. Very, very cool. And like genuinely like really good long-term loyal mates that backed us to buy the horse. And like a start of a really fruitful so far relationship with Kieran, Ma, and particularly Will Bourne, who we bought it with. But Heath Kelly at punting form, JJ, Shine Bright, Mick Ryan, and like on top of that all, Rob, one of the first guys that bought into the horse was the first ever client of the Mailbag in Turk. So lots of
full circle,
gear going on.
Until Valhalla, what a name too,
Shout out to Shine Bright, Mick Ryan.
He was the one I watched the race with. I got so excited for him. I should have made more about it when it jumped so good because you mapped it 3 back the fence. There it was.
We're just following the stewards.
Yeah, I might be seeing you sooner than later, mate. Maybe a trip up to Sydney on the cards. Meet some New South Wales racing people.
Yeah, Metro winner. Exciting. Very, very exciting debut. What she did was rare. And, to knock over that race like she did, she pulled away from that horse. It was $1.50 chance. So, and she didn't do it like a professional. She's got a lot more to come, I think. And both our man, Jono, the whisperer himself, Scuzz, and the head trainer in Sydney both think that she'll be better next preparation. So,
yeah, she's busy, not buzzy, but she could have enough pretty soon. We are getting late into the spring, and there just happens to be 1,000 guineas late in the spring. It's usually already run by now, but she could line up.
Indeed, it was a very exciting day, and we look forward to a very exciting weekend of racing. Obviously, Derby Day in Melbourne. But also a couple of races in New South Wales. If you hadn't heard, it's Golden Eagle Day. So we'll kick off there. Well, we'll kick off in race 7, which is the Giga Kick Stakes. The Everest winner goes again over 1,300 metres, which you'd assume Rob would only improve his ability. Do you think?
Yeah, I expect him to parade like he's gonna win. I think they maybe should be closer together, him and Private Eye, in the market, because I think Private Eye is back to that devastating form when he won this race last year when Mark Roden mapped it like it couldn't win, but boy, it won that day, and I felt like such a goose. So the 2 Joe Pride horses just head and shoulders here. Should be a great race.
Indeed. Jack, any thoughts here?
It's a bit of a low race, really. Like depth-wise, isn't it, Rob?
Well, as I just said, like the Joe Pride horse is just you know, taking on Group 2. You know, Bella Nipotina, or you know, she's a good horse, but I prefer her on a wet track. Maybe Moonee Valley. She's a good mare, but she doesn't set up well for her here. On a quick Rosehill track.
Yeah.
And Private Eye's a bit of a freak when he's right.
I was just having a look at the market, and I thought Cascadian seemed a bit short at $8.
Yeah.
1,300 first up. But then having a look, it wasn't far off in the Canterbury Stakes first up back in March, which obviously that was the Imperatriz Artorias race. But I mean, she's gone to another level since then, I would have thought. And
he's taken on two. He's more a miler. 2,000 meters Cascadian. I did back in one day. First up when Pete Anthony's got over the top of me on special reward. He was first up in a pretty low race. It was a Group 3 or something. He didn't win that day. So I think he'd be better with the run, and he should be, $12, $16.
If you had to bet though, like think about it versus Private Eye, the prices, you're having something small Private Eye, aren't you?
I know, it kills me. It kills me.
You are?
It has to be.
I think they should be a bit closer, shouldn't they?
Yeah, that's what I said, Jack, at the start. Yeah. But, I said he was too short in the Everest at, $4 odd. This horse just makes its own luck and has a will to win.
Yeah, but then you backed him, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Just because, Cylinder, we'll talk about Cylinder later. He was a better result for me in the race. And I thought, I was a genius at the 300 when they kind of looked like they had it between them. But yeah, look, I don't know what I'll do on the day, but I'm looking forward to watching the champion parade and think about it. And he's a champion at this stage. He's just a winner, and his Sunline is the closest attitude I've seen on a horse.
All right,
$3 million race.
That race looks pretty clear cut in terms of opinions. There, we move to the Golden Eagle, which probably has a few more opinions, I would have thought. Obviously, Hawaii 5-0 coming out of the Everest, Amelia's Jewel, the Kiwi filly Legato, one of my favourites. Japanese horse there for you, Rob. I won't make Jack pronounce that one because I'm not even going to try it. What are you thinking here? You got even the attrition.
Obambaruma,
the Turak winner.
That was great, Jack. Obambaruma.
Yeah.
Look, this is a great race, I think. But good luck finding the winner. Luck in running, obviously. Big yard race. We're on Pericles last start. Legato, I love what it did in the Australian Guineas. We were on it that day. Bless you, Jono. Osipenko, that wouldn't totally surprise us with the other Waller. Waller, that should be, some filthy bookies betting market, big odds Waller or small odds Waller or something. But he's got to be a chance in the race. Attrition's drawn tough after a Group 1 win. Amelia's Jewel, how good is it? Great race. Good luck finding the winner.
Indeed.
Jack.
I love Amelia's Jewel here. This is no better than the Turak. Probably a fair bit worse. And
what? No.
You think this is a stronger race than the Turak?
Yes. Got the Kiwi, Legato, Golden Mom, Pericles. Who's better out of those?
You can kind of line up. Attrition obviously finished second to Legato in the Australian Guineas pretty narrowly, and then obviously won the Turak. So you can kind of tie those two in together a bit.
But, you haven't had Hawaii 5-0, Everest runner.
Well, we saw some form out of that.
Well, the inevitable was in it and got its head kicked in. The inevitable was back to win the Epsom. Attrition, you can tie through every right race. He's a proper horse. Pinstripe is in the Turak. He went to the Cox Plate and did not disgrace himself. Antino should have won on Saturday on Cox Plate Day in a Group 1 race that was actually a Group 2. But that was a better race than this is. Amelia's Jewel was in that race. See You in Heaven's got ability. Amenable's got form around Amelia's Jewel and other really good horses. I think the Turak's as good a race as this was. Just they just didn't have to donate as much money to get the field there. And Pride of Jenny's a nice animal that runs around on Saturday as well. So I just think Amelia's Jewel wasn't suited race shape or map at all in the Toorak. She's drawn perfectly. D-Lane's as good as anyone in Victoria, which makes him definitely as good as anyone in Sydney. Particularly when the bigger, like the number one King Kong of Sydney's actually down in Melbourne to ride in the proper races on the proper day. So that's a disappointment, I guess, for the ridiculous amount of prize money thrown at this meeting. You've lost your premier rider. He's riding in Melbourne. So that's a failure for the setup. But it's still a great race, and it still looks a really bettable race on paper. I think anything above $4 for Amelia's Jewel's juicy. If you backed her in the Toorak, you just have to back up here and have another bet because she's going to get such a better run than she got in the Toorak. Bo Mertens gets a huge opportunity on attrition. He is like properly good. He didn't have like the easiest run in the Toorak. He never had an easy run. He's not going to have an easy run again. Like if this horse had drawn a softer barrier, I'd be very, very keen. But I think at the price and the way the market's trending, you don't have to overthink it. I'd just simply back both the Victorian horses coming out of the right races at reasonably fair to juicy prices, and that's Attrition and Amelia's Jewel. But great race. Legato's a freak. I think she's very, very good. And then there's all these Uncle Chris horses that they're pretty good, aren't they? But like they sort of haven't.
And
like
the Godolphins.
Osipenko is like, I wouldn't have been surprised if Osipenko ran in the Cox Plate and went good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
of course
he's going great. That horse, he is a good horse. And then we haven't even spoken about I think it's maybe the current favourite. You could say it's not. It's the second favourite on the Betfair Exchange right now. But Hawaii 5-0 is drawn real well. Gay and Adrian are in outstanding form. Can't knock it, I don't think. And
you haven't mentioned the Godolphins, mate. I think
I think Golden Mile is going to get exposed with the barrier.
Yeah.
And Pericles is in anything it wants. It's a really nice horse.
Yeah. It's flying this prep. We're on it last start. Ran great.
It's a good race, but there's about 4 or 5 headliners, which is probably like a bit less than was in the Toorak. You know, so that's back to my point. You know, obviously you're very much a Sydney man. But
I'm more Japanese. There's a 5-star Japanese horse here.
So that makes this race better than the Toorak.
Yeah, because
hey, you do you, bro.
Okay. Well, what price are you going to put on it? Is it
the Japanese horse?
Yeah.
Market.
Okay. So respect it, but you're happy. You're happy it's there.
It'll be made market, and therefore I know I'll be having at least something on it because you'll find it from the yard. Potentially, I've got to make it sort of $2 or $3 over the market price just to cater for Rob pushing it as just a quality Japanese horse.
I didn't back it. I got Kluger right, and the Danon I wasn't jabbed in time to see the Danon premium. I missed one of them due to COVID restrictions.
All right. That pretty much sums up the Golden Eagle. I'll be with Legato, obviously.
That's that day you were trying to get into the races without the
without my passport
thing, but you were showing them your receipts for your Invermectin, saying, "Look, I've been smacking this stuff. Let me in."
Well, turns out that anyway.
There we go.
Well, that was a con job. Anyway, moving on, Jack. You could look into the COVID stuff, if you want, or just like it was a big deal and now it's not. Now we don't talk about it. So anyway, moving on to Derby Day, the greatest day of the year.
Exactly.
Amelia's Jewel is my bet in that race with attrition.
Legato for me. All right, Flemington. Jack, do you want to choose which way you go, or do you want to be given some races to talk about?
You do you. What do you want me to do?
Let's go through the quaddie leagues, starting with the Coolmore, which is arguably the best race on the card. Always, I find on Derby Day.
I think it's one of the best races on the calendar. What's it worth? 20 million or something? Two.
10% of that. Yeah.
It's worth
No.
20 million to the horse who wins it as a
At
stud.
least 20 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of asset value fluctuations in the sort of finishing order of these horses for the connections and stud farms, etc., is big boy stakes. It's high roller table this race, and there's a lot of high roller silks. There's Sheiks, there's Newgates, there's Coolmore. Oh yeah,
James Heron. There he is.
Shout out to James.
The beer guy from Malaysia, King's Gambit, those colours.
The interpretation colours are in there.
Yeah, the Chinese
Aussie Kerr
representatives.
and Johnny O'Neill have a runner.
The Field of Roses colours are in there.
Yeah, shout out to Field of Roses, Stratton Angel, what a horse. Probably the best result for anyone playing at home that just sort of the little guy, just a party, just to run away with it would be interesting. Or if V8 could win as a grunt. Interesting spread of stallions represented here. Not as many big sort of boys as you'd anticipate off the sale prices at these yearling sales.
Exceed Excel the favourite, Snitzel the second favourite, but
there's a lot of Snitzel. Snitzel's probably won the like over under on runners in a Coolmore, but he hasn't won the race yet. Anyway,
so what
extreme choice has got a runner.
There's a real steal. Japanese horse. Rob doesn't even know it. Look at his eyes. That's his eyes when he's doing math. He's doing research funners at home. She-Light.
Yeah, there it is. Who's he by? Who's Real Steel by?
Deep Impact.
It's another Japanese horse.
Deep Impact. The legend. The hero.
The sire of sires.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Do you like cylinder worthy favourite? Shinzo. No, for me. Cylinder worthy favourite. What price will it get to, Jack Dickens?
I think something will happen, but I don't know what it will be.
Remember last year,
Shinzo might start like $4. It's drawn really nice. It can get a much softer run than it had last start. I think the only horses that have somewhat tricky maps that I doubt get backed. Don Corleone, I Am Unstoppable, Arkansas Kid, Stratton Angel, Nadal, She-Light, and Treasure. Now, Stratton Angel's been cleaned up overnight this morning, but still to $9. As a rule down the straight, you want to be midfield or forward. Obviously, these are horses that have been like stretched to get to here, some of them, and some of them been aimed at this and just cuddled to this point. So you'd anticipate a fair margin from first or last horse in this race. And sometimes that sort of indicates the bias or the pattern isn't as relevant. But I think the race is deep, fascinating, and very hard to sort of stamp, which as a starting point then sort of turns me off falling into the Shinzo cylinders, King's Gambits, anything sort of single figures, because I have a lot of respect for a lot of these horses. I think that the most responsible way to wager in this race at this early stage is the $14 available for the 11 Osmosis for Rachel King. Newgate buy. It's got a big SP edge versus was it Don Corleone or King's Gambit last start? Other than that, it's undefeated.
Started $2.45 versus $5 King's Gambit.
Yeah. It just gets the right map from the right barrier. There's a heap of speed, so she can't go too slow.
So you come up to my neck of the woods and pick the worst runner. The Sydney horses.
At the biggest price.
Okay.
So
it's fucking none.
None?
Absolutely none.
Wow.
Saturday horse. It's not a stud. It's not a Coolmore stud stakes horse.
Well, we'll find out on Saturday. Newgate think it is, who are pretty good at finding out the right ones.
Okay. I think King's Gambit's not much good either.
You potentially could be right, but there's no juice in Cylinder's price. There's minimal juice in Shinzo's price.
Well, I'm happy to kind of risk Shinzo a bit. Remember, I was keen about home affairs in this race last year. It was like 10s into 5s. I don't think that'll be happening here. I think this one will be going the other way. But, there's two, you can get a nice little compilation there, 2 egg on my face. But yeah, I'm happy to risk him and certainly Osmosis.
Do we take
Sorry, John?
anything out of Shinzo synthetic hoof filler for the first time, or do we just
No,
no?
don't worry about that stuff.
On with that.
I just think
He's one of the best to ever do it. It's a huge opportunity for this guy to be worth an absolute mozza. Golden Slipper winner, Coolmore stud winner. Like, you think they're worried about $7 million in the Everest? It's like confetti compared to what it's worth if he wins this as a 3-year-old. I think he'll explode. I thought his jump out or trial, whatever we call them, down the Flemington straight was really tidy work. I think he'll run a huge race. I think most of these will run a huge race. I think the ones at odds that are like for people playing at home, they don't want to just sort of stake into 6 horses here and just get a little earn out of the race. They want to have a bet. And I think V8 and Osmosis, the value in the race with maybe the 14 Moravia for the GOAT and Michael Friedman. But I would not be surprised if almost anything won the race.
Is the outside fence in play at all?
Yeah, but so's the inside. This is race 6 of on the best track in Australia by a fair way. It should just be like momentum, luck and running, the usual stuff. Not like, they were on the inside, they were on the outside. Not like an Everest.
Yeah, not like a Randwick track.
Yeah.
Laney trying to find that lane 8 at Randwick,
All right.
Yeah, there's fascinating stuff going on. Like this Cellulise, it's number out of Moonee Valley last Saturday for Oliver and Stanley was quite good. There's just if most of these horses win, the Dutch ruddering of the training performance will be as like at the peak of racing's powers because they'll all just be like, oh, can you believe that's the craftsmanship and the horsemanship to get this horse to peak on this day off a Moonee Valley run or out of the Everest or out of the Caulfield Guineas back to 1200, freshened up, exploded down the straight.
What price Uncle the Cry if Shinzo wins?
Oh, $1.12. No, $1.06 because he's in it. I'd cry too.
Yeah, fair enough.
He was trying on something less, I can't remember what horse it was, less sort of impactful than a Coolmore recently. So I'd say $1.12, you'd be taking that.
Okay.
All right, that'll do us for the Coolmore stud. We'll move into the Derby. Riff Rocket, $2.40 favourite after failing at very short odds. Last start, what was it? $1.28 went under to Sunsets. Jackie, you're steering yourself away from Riff Rocket based on that?
No, not at all. Classic Uncle Chris stuff. Back to Flemington where it exploded. Grand final where it's going to explode again. I think he deserves to be favourite and he'll probably start closer to like $2 and $2.50. He's a logical horse here. There's no reason to get off him.
Yeah.
If you like him, he's drawn perfectly. He's got J-Mac. It's Uncle Chris. It's classic stuff. It'll go very close. I think Apulia might drift, but can definitely win. Relished a really brutal tempo last week at Moonee Valley. Like it'll sort of go one way or the other off that. And these type of races, it is, I think, a lot more risky than normal as a punter trusting stables. But you still have to do it if you want to bet. But like it's either now or never for this like to win a derby sort of thing, Whereas if this was a horse backing up off a brutal tempo Saturday to Saturday in August, I would completely trust the stable to get it right. But you're always going to sort of lean a little bit more to just roll on the dice at this time of year. I think Verdad's flying. I think he's a really good animal. I think Air Assault's a big price versus what he started versus those two last week. And that's probably how I see the race at the moment. It certainly drops away. Yeah.
You've got a whole lot of roadblocks here. So luck and running is going to play a big key.
Busset and Young are actually going pretty good. They've sort of come hot the right time with sunsets. There's a yard though as well. I just think like Lindsay likes it and has backed it. And he said he woke up yesterday, looked at the barrier draw and went back to sleep. Maybe a little tear in his eye. Very
Pauline,
sick puppy, Lindsay, but
it's a cruel game. The 2,500-meter start, it's just, yeah, it's really rough.
So
that's a tough draw.
A bad barrier at this start for anyone who's not, real sick. It's pretty bad. So they jump about halfway down the straight, Rob, roughly.
More than it's almost near the clock tower. Might be in front.
Yeah, so like if you go to Flemington on Saturday and you just go down the lawn, you can watch them all, huddle behind the barriers and watch that type of racing, which you don't often get to see, which is pretty cool if you get into the game.
It's just
but they jump and then they got to find spots and they go to sleep. But this is a big field, so the snick is going to be attacks or intent to get across will be attacks. If Sunset gets sent, favourite to be 4 wide for the first corner.
And working going
Whereas
forward.
Riff Rocket's just going to be asleep, probably third pair.
Mm.
But Verdad's gone pretty well, really, considering how quick it went in the Vase.
Yeah, I think he's a really good horse. I think he was not suited in the Caulfield Guineas and Brave. He was just got handled at Moonee Valley when he came from the Big Bendigo win and got beaten by Griff that came out and won the Caulfield Guineas. But I think he, with a bit more luck and intent in that run at Moonee Valley, which might have been the Vase, maybe.
Vase was the one just been.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that then.
You backed it.
Stud
Stakes, we backed it. And I think with a little bit more intent earlier, he wins that race.
He should be able to camp just behind speed here.
That's the famous.
Yeah, he's a horse with nice speed. Yeah. Yep.
All right. We've got the warning from Zoom to get through the next couple of races here. So we'll skip the last one. Oh, you'll probably want to talk about the Damian Oliver. So we'll quickly go over the Empire Rose. Looks wide open based on the market. Alcohol free is at 3 runs in a row. Everest, Invitation, and now this Empire. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Slightly improving that horse. It paraded better and ran better again, but I hated it in the Everest. It just looks a funny old prep for it.
Yeah, that's a problem with this horse though, right? It looks like and I want it to be a dot ball, but it now gets out to a mile, which probably suits it way more, and it goes to Melbourne Way, and it's drawn barrier 5.
And another
I want to just like get rid of it, but you can't. I don't think you can.
Mate, 1 in 2 number ones win this race every year. The way it is, the set weights and penalties. Check it out.
The first day.
I like the freaking J-Mac ride. I wish he wasn't here. I wish he was in Sydney.
It's number 4.
I feel like I'm paying a tax. Just improving beautifully. Obviously, I'm concerned about Wishlaw Lass. Enough from me.
All right.
I don't have a strong view yet on this race, to be honest. I think Alcohol Free is going to get the absolute PR perfect run for Opie Bossum from a perfect barrier. I think it's very much suited to the trip it's getting to, but there are a lot of Victorian horses here that are flying, and it'll also be relevant. It's late in the day. You just got to pivot a little bit to how the track's race. So Pride of Jenny will roll forward. Wishlaw Lass will roll. Road to Arataki should roll. Those 3 horses are airborne, particularly Pride of Jenny, a little bit fresher. I think that they're the locals that are most likely to sort of get it done. I think Deny Knowledge loses pin. It's a really big negative. Jamie Cargo's on. Great rider, but I just would much prefer Billy Pin on this horse. He's riding really well on her. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Speaking of Opie Bosson, great ride on, albeit the Imperatriz pretty easy ride, but
phenomenal riding. No, it shouldn't be underestimated how good that was. The bravery that takes. If that comes unstuck, he gets abused by the bubbles nonnies like you've never heard before in your life. You know, why would you change your pattern?
She used to race close to the speed.
Oh, what about the Imperators into Equinox? That was free money. Should have been a tip. Other than we haven't talked about the tipping, Mr. Brightside. I feel I'm now gone. That didn't get up.
Oh, were you on that?
That sounded like
yeah.
What was I on?
Taunting, which was also just
that was crook.
And as
I almost took a Romantic Warrior.
As you suggested, my $16 shot was a great run, but didn't win. All right, the Damian Oliver. Couple of Godolphin horses you know well here. Rob Villana. Actually, Tamerlane was in Victoria. That's the Just Folk form, isn't it?
Yeah, I've seen.
You've seen both?
Yeah. Sorry, mate. Yeah, I have seen both of them. Yeah, they're very nice horses. Yeah, look, I really haven't looked at the race, to be honest. Villana, I thought it should have gone better first up. Ayrton, there's old Colino off a win. Prefer him fresh. Zutori hasn't done anything for a long time. Tough Rach, old welter horse, Bandersnatch. Does he get every chance, Jack Dickens?
Yeah, he does. Barrier 6, Geordie Childs. Has to. It's a tricky race, though.
You know,
there's angles everywhere. I really wanted to find King Magnus when I started working on the race. Love the map, love the horse, like it at Flemington. Sort of a bit of a different form line to the others, but it's hard to get its rating anywhere near
it's a good
enough
good
to
win.
justify a bet. I really like Munamek, the setup it's got here, but I hate the barrier, and I think the price is a bit sort of like, how you going? I think Tamerlane's going to start shorter than $4, is where I sort of concluded, and be pretty hard to beat. But I'm not at this stage convinced I want to have a good bet, because it's just full of horses that can run on, and it's a tricky 1,400-meter start, and the map's really hard to predict in this race at this stage without any scratchings and with potentially a really fair track. But then if it sort of starts to be a bit run-on-y or a bit rails and runny or whatever, that'll change this map and change the pattern of this race, which will affect it. I think that there's holes in the race for sure, but even a horse like Here to Shock, I kind of think he's going pretty good, but $11 is no spoil for it either. So tricky race. If I had to have a bet right now, it would be the favourite Tamerlane at the 420. I think you'll beat SP if you back Tamerlane now.
All right, cool. Rob, best bet? Are you ready?
Yeah, I think I'll go a Tissue, even though I'm paying the JMAC tax. Or maybe, I could almost go Tamerlane and be opportunistic, because that probably will come in off barrier 1 at 1,400. Let's go a Tissue.
All right. Dickens?
Moonee Valley, Friday night, race 2, number 4, Perovich.
Okay. Perfect. Got a little bit of time here for my best bet. Tauranga.
How are we supposed to be able to pronounce these words when you can't even do it?
I did it. I just did it.
Tauranga.
Tauranga. Yeah. Race 2, number 4, Onera. Been very good in all its 4 starts so far. Had a little break. Had a trial win since. Basically top against the top horses, the top fillies, and comes back to a little 1,200-meter race here. As I said, trialled well. And the second favourite has just been beaten up on some South Island horses, which I don't, sort of rate.
Southies.
Exactly. And comfortably beat it in a trial. So I think probably I'd say it's as good a bet as I've ever given on this show. $2.10. Matthew
Oh, sounds
Cameron
like
back.
Look, you know what Rob wants to do.
I'm going to send that as a bet for the 6 riders. Mass units right now.
Do it, baby.
Yeah, all right, boys. Have a good weekend. Derby day, everyone. Gamble
Enjoy it.
responsibly.
Gamble responsibly. Bye for
Indeed.
now.
Thanks, guys.